straight outta Compton comes out. I'm so excited. I'm from LA, so this movie is particularly close to my heart. I saw it in theaters 3 times. So as I'm perusing the internet, devouring everything I can about this movie, I come across the casting call. Now, this movie has already come out, and I'm no actress, so I wouldn't actually audition. But I just wondered, hypothetically, if I did, what role would I get? So I look at the casting call, and I'm going down the categories, and I start at the top, the A girls. The casting call reads, "These are the hottest of the hottest models. Must have real hair, no extensions." Well, since I have 20 inches of Brazilian hair extensions on my head, doesn't quite apply to me, but that's fine. I go to the next category, the B girls. The casting call reads, "These are fine girls. Long, natural hair, must have light skin." Beyonce's the prototype here. Light skin, also not me. And might I add, not even Beyonce made the cut to be an A girl. But that's fine. I go to the next category, the C girls. The casting call reads, "These are African American girls, can't have extensions, must be medium to light skin toned." Now, maybe back when I lived in Boston in the middle of the winter, could I get away with being medium skin toned? But since I've come back to sunny California, where I spend all my free time baking in the sun, not so much. So I scroll all the way down to the last category, the D girls. The casting call reads, "These are African American girls, poor, not in good shape, must have a darker skin tone." A darker skin tone. Well, I guess that's me, a D girl. When I first read this, I felt betrayed. Any given year, there are just a handful of movies starring Black actors and actresses. Just a handful of opportunities when people can see actresses that look like me on the big screen and see that we're fierce and beautiful and desirable. So I felt betrayed when even in these small circles where I'm allowed to feel beautiful, I'm so shoved aside for those with more favorable features. Light skin, light eyes, long, soft, real hair. But the more I thought about it, the more the feeling of betrayal slipped away for a more familiar feeling of, that's just the way it is. Because in my world, this phenomenon is all too familiar. Something just as sinister and subtle as racism. Colorism, the discrimination of those with a darker skin tone, typically amongst individuals within the same racial or ethnic group. The story of colorism in the US begins with slavery. The mass rape of African slave females by white male slave masters gave birth to a cohort of mixed-race slave children. These mixed-race slaves were related to the slave masters and had more Anglo features, and were given preferential treatment and allowed to work inside the house, doing less strenuous work, as opposed to the darker-skinned slaves that had to work out in the fields, doing more laborious work. Even after slavery was abolished, whites still gave more preferential treatment to Black that had more Anglo-type features, giving them better access to jobs, housing, and education. The thing is, though, even within the Black community, Black people use skin tone and facial features to discriminate against each other. They would only allow entrance into sororities, fraternities, or elite social clubs to Blacks that were able to display Anglo-type features. They would go through a series of tests to see if you fit the bill. One well-known test was the brown paper bag test, where if you were lighter than a brown paper bag, you're in. But if you were darker than a brown paper bag, you're out. Another well-known test was the pencil test, where they would take a pencil and run it through your hair to make sure that it's straight enough that the pencil wouldn't get stuck. The last test was called the shadow test, where they would take a flashlight and shine it against your profile and look at the shadow that your profile made against the wall. And if it matched that of a typical white person's profile, you were fine. But if it didn't, you're out. Now, though these practices are no longer in effect today, the effects of them are still very much so present. I remember a common compliment I would often get in middle school and high school, often told me by other Black males. It went to the effect of, "Oh, you're so pretty," for a dark-skinned girl. And it doesn't help that the media continues to place a premium on lighter skin by retouching and photoshopping the skin of actresses of color before putting them on the cover of magazines, as can be seen here, 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 and even here. Now, colorism is not just isolated to the US. Its effects are global, as best illustrated by the skin lightening and skin bleaching cream all over the world. In India and Asia alone, skin lightening and skin bleaching is a multi-billion-dollar business. Despite the harmful toxins that are present in these products, people are still willing to take the risk and use them in order to achieve what they are led to believe is beautiful. And beauty products have flocked on this insight. Well-known brand Vaseline even partnered with Facebook to come up with an app that would lighten the skin of your profile picture in order to promote their skin lightening cream. And you can't travel throughout Asia without being inundated by advertising and commercials that promise happiness and success if you could just be a little bit lighter. Studies have shown that these messages that we see at a young age have a profound effect on us. In 2010, CNN did a study where they interviewed young children, just 5, 6, and 7 years old, and asked them to place values and attributes to people based on their skin tone. Here's a clip from that study.
The smart child. And why is she the smart child?
Because she is white.
Okay. Show me the dumb child. And why is she the dumb child?
Because she plays.
Well, show me the ugly child. And why is she the ugly child?
Because she plays.
Show me the good-looking child. And why is she the good-looking child?
Because she likes skinny.
These messages that we see at such a young age and these messages that we internalize, they stay with us. They stayed with me. And though I deny it and I block it out, and I say I'm strong, I'm smart, I'm accomplished, I'm beautiful, I'm here at Stanford, and I'm not a D girl, this stuff, these messages, they stayed with me. And they manifest in this voice that makes me question, makes me doubt, and makes me think, but wait, am I a D girl? It stays with me. And so now, whenever someone gives me a compliment or says, oh, you look nice, you look pretty, the voice fills in the rest of the sentence with, for a dark-skinned girl. It stays with me. And it makes me question my intentions. Because even though I say that I have these extensions just for fun and that I like them, that voice says, no, you got them because you're trying to reach a beauty standard that you can actually never attain. It stays with me. Even as I go to send a simple text message, that voice in my head tells me that I should be embarrassed or ashamed when I scroll all the way to the end, to the last, darkest emoji. It stays with me. But I don't want it to stay with me. And the good thing is, it doesn't have to. Because these beauty preferences that we have, they're not something we're born with, they're learned. And if they're learned, then they can be unlearned. Among us are CEOs and co-founders, directors of marketing. You all are the arbiters of what society considers beautiful by deciding who you choose to put in your advertising or who you choose to be the face of your brand. So when you have the opportunity to make that choice, make the unconventional choice. And those of us that consume these messages, we play a role too. Because the first step to change is awareness. And now everyone in this room is a little more aware and will see the world just a little bit differently. And we don't have to passively accept what society tells us to think is beautiful. We can question it, and we could challenge the status quo. Because when we do, we get one step closer to broadening the standard of beauty and creating a society where the world can see that D girls are beautiful too. Thank you.